Euromaxx Highlights, and here's your host, Anne O'Donnell.
Hello and welcome to Euromaxx Highlights, where we've put together our favourite reports of the week for you. Let's have a look at what's coming up. Traditional get-up, Dirndl and Lederhosen aren't just for Bavarians. Risky business, cliff jumping with a twist. And pocket-sized perspective, a London photographer makes a big deal of little cars. Well, this week on Euromaxx, it's all about Bavarian traditions, and today we're looking at the traditional Bavarian clothes, Dirndls for the girls and Lederhosen or leather pants for the guys. They're back in fashion now, and some Southerners wear them all the time. This week, they aren't alone. Lots of visitors have joined in on the fun by donning the traditional gear for the Oktoberfest, the beer festival underwear in the Bavarian capital, Munich.
Wherever you look at Munich's Oktoberfest, you'll see people in traditional Bavarian dress, especially in the beer tents. Here, everyone wears Dirndls or Lederhosen, whether off the rack or designer models.
I'm from Munich and it's just part of it.
They're usually family heirlooms that are passed down from generation to generation. It's pretty cool.
It's tradition, reawakening memories of how things used to be, and it's about being proud of Bavaria and Munich.
It's a lot of happiness, a lot of celebration to me, the Dirndl.
These days, getting a traditional Bavarian costume is no problem. More and more designers are creating Dirndls and Lederhosen. Lola Paltinger from Munich is internationally known for her creations. Her outfits cost around 3,000 euros.
A few years ago, Dirndls became trendy, not just for Oktoberfest, but also as a fashion statement which celebrates the female form. The Dirndl is simply part of this spirit and Bavarian way of life that everyone wants to be a part of. When it comes to their outer appearance, people want to feel they belong too.
With designer Dirndls, almost anything goes. But with the traditional costumes of yesteryear, every detail, including the color and length of the dress, had a meaning. Often there were even differences between the clothing of neighboring villages. Simona Egger has explored the phenomenon in a book. She found that the Dirndl as we know it isn't all that old. Its origins lie in the working clothes worn by countrywomen. It became more elaborate when city folk began wearing it at the end of the 19th century.
Wealthy families, the ones that could afford it, spent weeks at a time at summer resorts. And there must have been a very creative seamstress there. We can't really trace it anymore, but it was somewhere on the border between Salzkammergut and Bavaria, in the vacation region. There's a smock that's worn underneath. That's what women young and old wore to do farming work in the countryside. It was checked or a floral print, and she created a vacation outfit from it.
One difference between designer Dirndls and traditional ones is that the traditional ones never change. They might even tell you about the social status and background of the wearer. This historical legacy is still observed by many. Bavaria and Austria have hung on to the custom most tightly. That's one reason why many think of Dirndls and Lederhosen when they hear the German word Tracht, meaning traditional attire. But in Bavaria, people also go for the look outside of Oktoberfest, like here in Berchtesgaden. Here they've been making Lederhosen by hand for more than 120 years. When the business began, they made clothes for farmers and laborers. The embroidery pattern has been the trademark of Lederhosen made by the Stangassingers for generations. Franz Stangassinger has been in charge for the last 15 years.
I had a client who had a pair of Lederhosen from 1890. He even had the original bill from our company's founder. He told me that his great-grandfather had them made here. They were passed down to his grandfather, then to the father, and now he has them. So he's the fourth generation to wear them.
Even though the Oktoberfest calls for traditional Bavarian dress, Dirndls and Lederhosen are now established as global fashion.
Well, as far as fashion goes, even sports activities seem to go through periods when they are trendy and cool. But what do you do when extreme sports start to bore you? Invent a new one, of course. Well, that's exactly what the Swiss daredevil Warren Verboom did. It's called Freestyle Canyoning, and it uses parkour or a variety of techniques to get from A to B, like jumping, abseiling or swimming. Let's just say acrobats would come in handy here. It certainly looks dangerous, but all the jumps and the somersaults are carefully planned and tested before they actually jump into action. Still though, it is nerve-wracking just watching.
Jumps like this are all the rage for urban parkour athletes. But Warren Verboom has given the whole thing a new twist.
What thrills me about freestyle canyoning is that you see a spot and then you think about what to do with it. It has to be feasible, of course. And once you've figured that part out, you can get creative. First you imagine it, and then you try to do it.
Was man im Kopf zuerst kreiert und dann versucht zu machen.
Today he's in the canyons of Maserati Valley in southern Switzerland. It's out here in places like this where he can push the envelope. He first came up with freestyle canyoning after base jumping and wingsuit flying had lost their thrill.
I've often wondered why I have this urge to take part in extreme sports. When I'm standing up there and planning a new jump, I do feel a lot of fear. And that's when I think, why am I doing this again? But I've got this huge urge. And after I make the jump, well, I remember why I love it.
He's always on the search for the next challenge, an ever bigger adrenaline kick. Verboom doesn't take unnecessary risks. He prepares for every jump with care and precision. Wind and weather often have an impact on the natural landscape. Today, the main issue is the depth of the water. After inspecting the underwater terrain, Verboom realises that he can't make the leap from the very top.
The storm knocked down a lot of rocks and even a big boulder. The water isn't deep enough anymore. I could still take a jump from the side, but I had to look very carefully to find a spot where I could enter the water. But then I did find a spot, and I made that one jump.
A few kilometres down the path, there's what freestyle canyoners call a slide, a waterfall. Again, the first order of business is scoping out the terrain. This careful planning explains why he's avoided serious injuries thus far.
Fear is always part of freestyle canyoning. That's what makes it so exciting. I'm always afraid when I'm about to make a new jump, but that's exactly what I like about it. Once I've done a jump 10 times, I'm not afraid anymore. Then it's time to look for a new kick.
To help promote his new sport, Verboom has banded together with athletes from a variety of disciplines to found what they call Team Deep. They've just filmed their second video short. Maybe it will be their big breakthrough, but the breathtaking moves make it clear. Freestyle canyoning will never be a sport for the masses.
It's not exactly like parkour, of course, where anyone can head out into the city and hop around a bit. You need experience with ropes and carabiners and all of that. And you need to understand the dynamics of water. That's all part of it.
But with enough courage and experience, maybe you too will see a waterfall like this with new eyes. Just like Warren Verboom.
Well, from one thrill onto the next, fast cars. The Italian sports car manufacturer Maserati is 100 years in business this year. To honour this century of success, fans got together to celebrate in Modena, Italy, where their current headquarters are. 5 Maserati brothers originally founded the company. Later, 3 of the brothers kept the firm going, building cars that won races. Today, the brand is known everywhere and stands for luxury, sports and style.
More than 200 Maseratis are assembled on the Piazza Grande in the heart of Modena in northern Italy. Produced by a small Italian carmaker, Maseratis are famous the world over.
The fact that they were built by a family, they were built by artisans, you know, it's not a big corporation.
For me, the brand is 100 years old. It's passionate, it's performance, the sound, everything.
At one stage it belonged to Joe Walsh of the Eagles rock band, and Joe Walsh wrote a song, and it had a verse in it, "My Maserati does 185, lost my license, now I don't drive."
Holger Gothe knows just how Maseratis tempt drivers to speed. The German is taking part in the anniversary celebrations with his 1972 Maserati Bora.
At least you can step on the gas a little bit now. And you can already see that the engine sings its very own tune. The sad thing is that we can't give it enough gas to really savor the sound.
Gas geben, wie man eigentlich müsste, das mal so richtig auszukosten.
When in Modena, Holger Gothe routinely visits Giuseppe Candini. A specialist for vintage Maseratis, the Italian has known the company since the 1950s, when Maserati made itself a name in the racing business. He even worked for Argentina Formula One ace Juan Manuel Fangio, who began his career here.
I knew Fangio from when he started out at Maserati. Even after we stopped working together, when his racing career ended, he visited me here again and again. Then we usually went out to eat.
Fangio's life and work is part of the Maserati Centennial exhibition being held in Modena. It also shows the Maserati brothers and their successors. In the firm's first decades, it solely built racing cars. The exhibition was put together by the grandson of industrialist Adolfo Orsi, who bought Maserati in 1937.
When my grandfather purchased the company, he had already in mind that was important to build racing cars which could win on Sunday and to sell a road product on Monday or industrial product on Monday.
The first series production street-legal Maserati was produced in 1947. The luxury cars soon became the favorites of the rich and famous, especially the 3500 GT and the Quattroporte. Maserati was sold to the French company Citroën in '68, producing striking models like the Ghibli and the Bora.
Back then, it was an innovation in technology and design. People were familiar with long hoods and short sloping rear ends. The image of all the cars' power was concentrated at the front. Then suddenly they developed these cars with shorter front ends with an optical focal point in the middle and at the back of the vehicle. That was a new departure in terms of style.
But after a short boom, the company went bankrupt in 1975. A series of frequently changing owners tried to profit by scrimping on quality. In 2007, Maserati, then owned by Fiat, got back on track by returning to luxury models. Company legends such as Ermanno Cozza are also attending the anniversary celebrations. The technician and developer worked with the Maserati brothers.
Maserati has had so many different owners in the last century. Orsi, Citroën, government bankruptcy trustees, De Tomaso, Fiat, and all the rest. There are always ups and downs. But after every low, we always made it back to the top.
Maserati is due to deliver more than 30,000 cars in 2014, more than ever before. Maserati lovers the world over are hoping that the sudden success will do nothing to tarnish the shine of a brand that has been exclusive for so long.
Right, moving on now from big cars to little ones. Kim Leuenberger became a photographer just by chance. The 22-year-old comes from the French-speaking part of Switzerland, where she was a chemistry student who loved posting pictures on Instagram. She then became a big hit on the photo networking site thanks to her project Travelling Cars Adventure, which makes toy cars look like the real thing. Now she is making a career out of her unique hobby. We took a closer look at her work in London.
Miniature cars. In the country, in the city, in the woods, or at the beach, portrayed as if they were the real deal. They're the brainchild of Swiss photographer Kim Leuenberger. She's been photographing toy cars for 3 years now. She started with her first camera at age 19.
It was a sunny Sunday and I was really bored at home. Like I say, I live in a place where there are more cows than inhabitants, so I just took all the things I had in my room. And I took this little van I had. I was receiving it like 6 months ago, like from my parents. And I took a little Paddington bear and I tried to put in in scene in my garden. So that's how it started.
Leuenberger posted her first pictures on the internet. The positive reaction was overwhelming. Encouraged by the praise, she began another series, Travelling Car Adventures. Since then, the toys have accompanied her all across Europe, to Italy, her native Switzerland, and Greece.
Wherever I traveled, I found more of those cars, so I started buying more wherever I went. I think the second one was a Vespa that I bought in Italy, then I bought this yellow Beetle in Spain, and wherever I went, I got new ones.
Leuenberger posted the images on social networks, including Instagram. She's now got around 34,000 fans, and she's made some money by selling her best pictures. Leuenberger studied photography here at London's University of the Arts. She's hoping to make a career of it.
I would like to work in commercial photography, editorial, work for cover for like bands and books cover, and also work for magazines and things like that. I want to tell a story with my image.
Until that takes off, she'll carry on with her cars project. She buys the cars at flea markets like this one on London's Portobello Road. Minis and Beetles and other classic models. She always knows exactly what she's looking for.
The face mostly, the face of the car, that it looks to be photogenic in a way. So some aren't, some are more photogenic, and I take it and I look at it from different angles. So I like to shoot them from the back as well. And if they look nice from a certain angle in the back, then it works as well.
Leuenberger now has more than 50 cars in her collection. As well as photographing them, finding and collecting them has become a hobby in its own right. When she travels, she often has several dozen miniature cars in her suitcase.
There's always this game I like to play, is like, how did the car get there? Like, the first look is like, is it real, is it not? And that's what I want to play with most of the time. I think most of the people tell me that it makes them happy, so that's what makes me carry on with this project.
Kim Leuenberger has become a Londoner. The city provides the backdrops for many of her pictures. She shoots the cars at their own level or from below. The process always arouses the curiosity of passers-by.
But sometimes I take them kneeling on the ground or like lying on the ground, and that I get a few weird looks when I do that. When I'm really flat on the ground and people ask me if I'm okay or if I have something wrong, I was like, no, I'm just taking a picture of a little car.
In her bid to create the perfect images, Kim Leuenberger will have to put up with the stares for a while longer. She plans to continue her Travelling Cars Adventures series, and she hopes to publish a coffee table book showcasing her best photos very soon.
The print trade is a dying business, or is it? The impending demise of the print media has been talked about now for some time. Its decline was forecast with the rise of the internet. And to a certain degree, it is true, less people are buying newspapers. But the magazine trade in Germany has never been better. Germans are spending more than 260 million euros a month on magazines. And kiosks here have never had so much variety. We wanted to know why.
Reading magazines is a popular pastime in Germany. Berlin's Birgit von Gefug loves curling up on the couch with a glossy mag. She's even willing to forsake her smartphone for a few hours.
It's like switching off. When I browse the internet, it feels like work, especially after I've spent the day at work in front of my computer. Even when I'm sitting on the sofa, it's not very relaxing to watch something on my laptop or iPad.
Her favorite kind are women's magazines. She thinks they're full of entertaining articles. The most popular magazines are those focusing on fashion and style, natural living, and cooking, topics that provide an escape from everyday life. New magazines are constantly popping up. Emotion Slow is one of them. It focuses on the merits of chilling out and taking it easy. Just 4 staff members are in the editorial office in Hamburg. Now they're working on the second issue. It's due to appear in mid-October. As well as interesting articles, staff place a high value on the magazine's production values. They only use high-quality paper and artistically shot photos.
A magazine is something you pick up repeatedly, and you might want to keep it long-term. I think that's something that is sustainable in the development of the print market in general, treating magazines a bit like books, as things that have value and quality.
There's an enormous choice of magazines available in Germany, and there's something for every possible taste and interest. Birgit von Gefug is a regular customer at this magazine shop in Berlin. She enjoys coming here to choose from the latest titles. More than a third of the magazines sold have been on the market for less than 10 years. Stefan Scherzer represents magazine publishers. He understands the reasons behind the success of many new publications.
Especially young people are used to it. On the internet, they find blogs and websites on every topic. Vertical integration is very pronounced. What people learn from digital media, they see replicated in kiosks. They can find a magazine about any topic they can find on the internet, featuring exciting articles and high-quality pictures.
The current variety has historical reasons. After World War II, the goal was to create a broad media landscape in Germany. Publishers could make use of a nationwide network to distribute their magazines. At the time, that was unprecedented.
We have a strong reading culture. Compared to many countries in the English-speaking world, in Germany people are more willing to pay more for reading material. They take out subscriptions and buy from kiosks. Magazines are very well distributed here too. That's important. It means you can find a magazine shop, kiosk, or tobacco shop that sells magazines almost anywhere.
But only interesting, high-quality concepts can expect to sell well. The Hamburg-based publishers of Emotion Slow take that seriously. CEO Anke Rippert says being small allows more flexibility.
When we're convinced of an idea and think it's a risk worth taking, we just do it. Instead of spending 6 months in strategy and budget planning meetings, we try it out. It means we can bring things onto the market more quickly.
Birgit von Gefug also likes trying out new things, but she remains loyal to the magazine as a medium.
I like holding them and turning the pages. If I see something interesting, I might tear out the page. I know everything's on the internet, but that's not my thing.
But she doesn't completely eschew electronic media. Often when something interesting catches her eye, she'll take a photo of it and store it for posterity on her smartphone.
That's all we have time for today. Thanks for watching, and we will be back tomorrow with more. See you then. Bye-bye.